Have you ever really stopped to think about the world that's alive inside you? Because, it's not some quiet, static place. Right now, as we speak, there's a microscopic ballet unfolding within you, a constant dance of surveillance, and when needed, an incredibly rapid response. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and watch that dance. We're diving into the amazing, dynamic story of your adaptive immune system. For the longest time, trying to understand our immune system was a lot like trying to figure out a football game just by looking at a few still photos. You'd see the players, you'd see the ball, but you'd completely miss the strategy, the movement, the whole point of the game. But now, thanks to some incredible new dynamic imaging techniques, everything has changed. We've gone from looking at snapshots to watching a live broadcast. And for the very first time, we can actually witness this incredible choreography live, right in its natural environment. We can see a cell, like this T cell here, not as some static dot in a petri dish, but as an active explorer, buzzing through the complex superhighways of a lymph node in real time. And this is exactly where our story kicks off. So, our story doesn't start with a war. It actually starts during peacetime. Long before any threat even shows up, your immune system is already in this state of constant vigilant patrol, searching every nook and cranny of your body for the slightest sign of trouble. So, let's meet our main character, the naive lymphocyte. Think of these as highly trained, super specialized soldiers. We're talking T cells and B cells, and they're fresh out of training. Each and every one is programmed with one single, unique mission: to find the one specific intruder, the one antigen that it was literally born to recognize. And their search, well, it's relentless. We have millions of these cells constantly circulating, making a full lap through your entire body, maybe once or twice a day. They're always passing through these key surveillance hubs, like your lymph nodes and your spleen, just endlessly checking for their target. But how do they even get from the fast-moving bloodstream into these fortified lymph nodes? Well, they pull off this daring maneuver called extravasation. Honestly, it's the cellular equivalent of a special ops soldier jumping out of a moving vehicle to infiltrate a secure facility. It's a really complex four-step process. Okay, so first, the lymphocyte just kind of tumbles and rolls along the blood vessel wall, getting slowed down by what are essentially molecular speed bumps. Then, chemical signals called chemokines activate it, and that triggers a massive change in its surface proteins. This leads to arrest, a sudden dead stop. And finally, in this amazing move called diapedesis, it literally squeezes itself between the cells of the blood vessel wall and pops out into the lymph node tissue. Incredible. Now, once it's inside, it's not just a free-for-all. The lymph node is incredibly organized, almost like a city with designated neighborhoods. T cells are guided by these chemical trails to patrol the T cell zone, while B cells are sent to completely separate areas called follicles. This organization is key because it dramatically boosts the odds of them finding what they're looking for. So, the stage is set. Our patrols are out there, they're active, but what happens when the alarm finally sounds? When an intruder, an antigen, is detected, well, everything changes. Now, this is where the system gets really clever. The alarm signal can't just be some generic siren, because T cells and B cells are looking for totally different kinds of trouble. They need their intelligence delivered in two very distinct formats. Okay, so for the T cells, you have these specialized scout cells called dendritic cells. They go out, capture the enemy, chop it up into little pieces, and then present those fragments. It's kind of like a scout bringing back a piece of the enemy's uniform. But for B cells, it's totally different. They need to see the intruder in its natural state. So for them, whole, unprocessed antigen is delivered, almost like physical evidence that needs to be inspected directly. All of this sets the stage for what is probably the most dramatic moment in this entire story, the ultimate needle in a haystack search, the 1 in a million encounter where a single lymphocyte finally finds its one true target. I mean, just think about the odds here for a second. Out of trillions of cells in your body, only a tiny handful of T cells can recognize any specific invader. So how on earth does that one T cell find the one dendritic cell that's carrying the exact piece of the enemy uniform it's looking for? It just seems statistically impossible. So what's the answer? Well, it's a combination of brute force and breathtaking efficiency. To overcome these impossible odds, the system just floods the zone. Get this, a single dendritic cell gets scanned by up to 5,000 different T cells. every single hour. By using overwhelming numbers and sheer speed, the immune system turns a 1 in a million chance into a near certainty. And then it happens. When that match is finally made, the T cell's frantic, high-speed patrol comes to a sudden, dramatic halt. It arrests its movement, locking on to that dendritic cell to form this stable, intimate connection that can last for hours. This is the moment of recognition. And this right here brilliantly shows the level of collaboration we're talking about. You see, for the strongest possible response, especially to get our killer T cells going, it often takes more than just 2 cells. We can actually see the formation of this unbelievable tricellular complex. You've got the dendritic cell presenting the alarm, a helper T cell to confirm the threat and authorize the response, and a killer T cell ready and waiting to be activated. So the match is confirmed, the orders are given, what's next? The next phase kicks in, building a massive, specialized army to go out and fight the infection. The activated T cell doesn't just go into battle alone, no way. It begins to divide, and divide, and divide again. It's essentially cloning itself, creating thousands of identical soldiers. And at the exact same time, activated B cells, with a little help from their T cell partners, morph into plasma cells, which are basically biological factories just churning out millions and millions of antibodies. And this new army is highly specialized. You've got your helper T cells, which act as the generals, coordinating the whole response. You've got your killer T cells, the frontline assassins that seek out and destroy our own infected cells. And you have the plasma cells, which are like the artillery, just bombarding the enemy with antibodies. So after days of intense fighting, the army wins. The infection is cleared out. But the story isn't over, not by a long shot. Now comes the final and maybe the most important phase, creating a lasting legacy. I mean, you can't just leave a massive army hanging around, right? It takes up a ton of resources, and it could even cause some collateral damage if it sticks around for too long. So once the threat is gone, the immune response has to contract. That huge army is systematically dismantled. And this contraction is really dramatic. We're talking about 95% of the warrior cells that were created to fight the infection, they're instructed to undergo programmed cell death. They're gone. But a small, elite fraction, about 5%, are spared. These are the veterans, the survivors. So let's just recap this entire ballet. It all starts within minutes as the antigen arrives in the lymph node. Within a few hours, the T cells make that first crucial match. Then, over the next 1 to 4 days, a massive army is built from scratch. By about 2 weeks, the war is won and the army contracts. But for the years, sometimes for an entire lifetime, a few of those crucial cells remain. And these are the memory cells. They're the veteran soldiers who now patrol your body, holding a perfect, indelible memory of the enemy. If that same intruder ever dares to show its face again, the response will be so fast and so powerful, you probably won't even know you were under attack. This, right here, is the entire principle behind vaccination, training your immune system to create these veteran cells without you ever having to get sick first. It's a beautiful, violent, intricate ballet of immunity. And it really makes you wonder, what other microscopic ballets are happening inside us right now, just waiting for us to finally see them?